Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In this episode, I'm going to demonstrate to you how you can set up AWS CLI on your brand new Ubuntu box and then connect to the AWS and then push your Docker image into the AWS repository, also known as ECR or Elastic Container Registry. So essentially there's three steps you have to do. First one is to install and configure your AWS CLI or command line interface. And then you're going to have to authorize the user. And then the final step would be to push the image from your Ubuntu box into the AWS repository. Let's do a few check here. Let me show you. This is the version of Ubuntu I'm using, 20.04. So the first step is to install your AWS CLI. To install it, just say app install. And then you say AWS CLI, just like that. I've already installed AWS CLI, so it will go relatively fast. So once that's done, let me click this guy. Next is to configure your AWS CLI. So simply type AWS configure like this. They will ask you a series of questions. The first one being the access key. Note that the access key and your secret access ID is actually associated with only your user account. It's not global. Just keep that in mind because a lot of users think that that's a global to your account that you pay for or subscription that you made with AWS. So anyway, to get your access key ID, you go to AWS here. Let me close all my tabs and just have one tab here. So once that's done, you have to go to IAM. I call it IAM or Identity and Access Management. If you don't have IAM in here, you can just go to your search and type IAM like this. And the first item here, just click on it. And then the next thing I do is to click on user on the left hand side of the menu and select the user. If you do not have a user or if you're dealing with a brand new user, click on add user and follow the instruction on the screen here. So I'm going to use this particular user here. As you can see, I do have an access key here already, right? But I can't remember what my secret access key ID was. So if that's the scenario, then you're going to have to reissue the access key again one more time. So to do that, go to security credentials here, and then you're going to have to scroll down until you see access key here. So the existing access key, I'm going to go ahead and delete it, which is okay. And then go delete, deactivate first. And then you copy the access key here and you paste it to confirm the delete. Once that's done, if you scroll all the way up again, there's no more access key on the summary. So you go back to your access key again here. Now you're going to have to create a brand new access key. Say create access key. I'm going to use CLI or command line. Click on this guy here, and if you scroll all the way down, you say understand the above recommendation, and then click next. And just give it a name here. I'm going to just call it test, and then create access key. Now the access key is available here. You're going to have to click on this icon here to copy into your clipboard, and then go ahead and paste it here like this, and hit enter. The next thing they'll ask you is the AWS secret access key, which is available right next to it here. It's a bunch of asterisks. You want to see it, click on show. I'm just going to click on this one here to copy on a clipboard and just going to go ahead and paste it on my command line interface on my Ubuntu and click enter here. Okay, this is the default region name here. So right now it shows as global here, but if I go back to my repository, I'm going to click done here to close this because I'm done with this and continue. One more thing to remember is that you have to make sure that you know your secret access key because secret access key will not be available after this. Just a heads up there. If you forgot the secret access key again, you're going to have to delete your access key and regenerate your secret access key again one more time. Okay, once that's done, let's go back to AWS and then let's go back to our ECR here. If this ECR is not here, just type the search and you'll be able to find it. So this is the repository I'm going to push it to. You can see if I click this guy here, it's showing as US-east-1. So which I have it here as default. I'm going to accept it by pressing enter here. And I'm going to accept a JSON format. Hit enter. If there's blank here, make sure you type JSON. Okay, that concludes the installation and configuration part of the CLI. I'm going to clear this guy up here. Next is the user authorization. You can use this command here, but make sure that you change the following information on this command line here. First is the region itself. Mine is US-east-1. Another portion where there's region is over here. So make sure these two are correct on your side. And then this is the account ID. If you don't know what your account ID is on your AWS, go back to your web page. On the top right hand corner, click on your username, and your account ID is right there. You just copy the clipboard and paste it. When you paste it, they'll get rid of that dash that's on your account ID. So once that's done, hit enter. If you get this kind of error saying that your time difference is big, which means that your system time is not correct. So if I go date, you can see that is saying SAST. So if you want a bit more detail about your date, you can also use date time CTL and Ubuntu, time date CTL. It gives you a bit more information about the date. It says my time zone is Africa, Johannesburg, and my time is this. But since I'm assigned US East, this time doesn't really jive, right? So there's something wrong with the system time. And also the NTP service is inactive. So what I can do is that I need to do two things. I'm going to have to reactivate the NTP services and also change the time zone. So in order to do that, first let's activate the time, the NTP server by the following command: time date set NTP to true. So what this does is that if I go back in here and look at it, now my NTP service is active, so it's synchronizing it. But again, my time zone is not correct. So I need to find out my time zone. My time zone is in Mountain Standard Time. So if you don't know what your text is for a time zone, you can just do time date, again CTL, then say list time zones like this, and they'll give you the list of all the time zones around the world. So I'm going to press Ctrl+C to exit out of it here, clear. So in order to set your time zone, this is the command that you use. Same thing again, time date CTL, and then you're going to say set time zone like this, and then I'm in Canada, Mountain, like that, and hit enter. Now if you type time date CTL, you can see that the NTP server is good, my zone is good, and the mountain time looks about right. Let's try the user authorization command again. Again, make sure that your account number and your zone in these two spots are correct, and hit enter. If you get this access denied error, this is how you resolve it. You're going to go back to AWS again, and you need to go to IAM again. If you can't find your IAM in here, go in here and type IAM like that, and the first hyperlink in that pop-up will be your IAM. And then you're going to go to the users again, and then go to the user that you've been working on. So mine's going to be this one here. And then you're going to go here and make sure you select on permission here. And then once the permission is there, you're going to have to add extra permission here, because I don't have much permission. That's why it's causing issues here. So you go add permission, and you're going to say create inline policy. And then from here, you're going to select JSON, and you're going to create a new policy here on this statement here, and you click paste here. I'm going to leave this policy on the description of this video, so you don't have to type. So once that's done, review policy, and then you're going to have to give this policy a name, say maybe demo test, like that. And then you're going to say create policy. So the AWS system will automatically associate the new policy or custom policy that you just created with your account here. So once that's done, let's go back to your AWS main menu, and let's leave it here for now. And then we're going to try this again. Okay, again, one more time, make sure that your account number is correct and the regions are correct. And once that's done, hit enter. If you successfully log in or able to authorize your account to AWS, you should get a login succeeded message like this. Okay, once that's done, let me clear this up again. That concludes the user authorization, which was step number 2. Now to push the image into our ECR here. Let's have a quick look at our Docker image list. You can see that I have a few images here. It's a bit unclear. I'm going to zoom out a bit more so you can see it clearly. Okay, so I've got a couple of images here. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to have to try to push one of this image into here. So let's go to ECR on the EWS. And then I've got the repo here. If you have already got the repository, you can proceed. Let's say I'm gonna create a brand new repository, right? You're gonna click here and create a brand new repository, give it a name and whatever name, and then after that, create repository. It's pretty straightforward. But I'm assuming that you already have the repository. That's why you're here. So what you're gonna have to do is that you're gonna have to name this name into this name here, the URI name itself. And let's say, for example, if you have your Docker image, you want to push this Node-RED in here. What you have to do is that you say Docker tag. You're gonna have to rename this guy here. In the world of Docker, they call it tagging. And then this is a tag, latest. The word latest comes from here. So it's separated. This is repository colon tag, they call it. And I'm gonna rename it to, you're gonna have to rename it to this one here. This guy here. Just click on this icon, you'll copy it, paste it, and then colon. And you're gonna rename it to whatever tag you want. Normally we put version number, so let's say I'm gonna call it 1.2 or something like that, and hit enter. So now if you were to do Docker image list, you will see another additional image that was created, this one here, but your original Docker image is still there. So you're gonna have to push this into the repository here next. So the way to do it, Docker push, you're gonna copy this one here, which is the name, or you can click on this icon here, copy it, and then paste it here, colon, followed by this tag name here, which is gonna appear if you click on the inside, like click on this guy here. This is what the tag name will be appearing as 1.2 if the push is successful. Once that's done, hit enter. And in a few seconds, the push is complete. And now if you go into the AWS, press F5 to refresh, or click on the refresh button on your web page, and then you can see that your image is being pushed. If you learned something and you like this tutorial, please like and subscribe. Other than that, you have a good day.